The Last of Us Part 2 is a survival horror game that puts a heavy emphasis on scavenging and crafting items when you can, because one item can often mean the difference between life and death. See, Joel, maybe if you picked up that bottle of alcohol in the first game, you wouldn't be here. So, I wanted to push that to the limit and see if I could beat The Last of Us Part 2 on grounded difficulty without picking up any items.
Grab any supplies you find.
We can't touch this stuff. It's old world.
Exactly, Lev. Exactly. The rules here are pretty straightforward. Basically, anytime we press triangle to pick something up, it counts. So, no crafting supplies, no melee weapons, ammo, bottles, bricks, parts, supplements, training manuals, and of course, no weed. Okay, wait, that actually doesn't get added to our inventory, so it's fine. The exception to this rule is anything the game forces us to pick up in order to progress, including collectibles. We're also going to be doing this playthrough on grounded mode and a new game, so we don't have any of those upgrades carrying over from a previous playthrough. Also, no glitches, no exploits. We are playing this thing all the way through. Let's get started. Right away, we're pretty much given several opportunities to scavenge supplies, but we can ignore all of these except when going into the supermarket with Dina. The game basically forces you into a quick time event where you have to pick up a bottle and throw it at a runner. The game freezes at this point until you do that, so this one can't be avoided. Immediately there is a door that the game will not let us open until we pick up some alcohol and craft a health kit. I couldn't find a way to skip this, and it's scripted to only progress once you pick that up, so this won't add to our counter. Dina also gives you a Molotov when you are climbing through the window into the larger supermarket area. Even if you don't interact with her, the game automatically makes you pick it up to continue, so again, this does not count. We start off day 1 in Seattle with a Molotov and a couple of pistol bullets, so kind of not looking good from the start. There are plenty of locations where we can scavenge in the day 1 downtown area, but again, these are all avoidable. You're forced to pick up the map of Seattle and the list with the gate codes, but since these are both collectibles and they're required, they do not count. For some reason, when we start the school encounter, the game gives us another rifle bullet. No idea why, but since that was automatically added to my inventory, it doesn't count. Speaking of the school encounter, oh my god, this was 100 times easier than my no kills playthrough because luckily, when you kill enemies, it gives you checkpoints. So even though I screwed up a few times, I didn't have to start from the very beginning of that encounter. Such a godsend for the entire playthrough. But moving on, we can make it through all of the enemy encounters in this part with just Ellie's knife, so we don't even need to waste any bullets here until we approach the news station. Here, the game wants you to use bricks and bottles to set off the explosive traps, but since we're not scavenging, we have to use bullets. The least amount of bullets I could use at this part was 3, and at this point in the game, I've now used up all of my bullets before day 1 is even over. If you didn't pick up the shotgun in the bank earlier, you're forced to pick it up to enter the news station, and once again, since we're forced to pick it up, it doesn't count. The rest of the day is very doable. You just run past the wolf in the news station, use some stealth in the sewers since we don't have any bullets, and day 1 is done with no scavenging, but now we're low on ammo, so that's gonna make day 2 a lot harder. Day 2 is mostly okay. The only issue we have here is that we're forced to pick up the bow off of the stalker in the garage. The game will not let us open the garage door until we pick that up, so we're forced to take it, and on top of that to fire an arrow, which we can't pick up, so we get 1 arrow from this bow for Ellie's entire half of the game. Hillcrest is pretty doable, and it's straightforward up until you enter the car with Jesse. In the car sequence, you're forced to shoot some wolf, and even though we ran out of ammo earlier, the game gives us unlimited ammo. On top of that, the game actually ended up giving us back some bullets at the end of this chase scene, so for some reason we gained 3 bullets from this part, but since we didn't scavenge them and this part is scripted, it technically doesn't count. In the flashback scene on day 2, we have to use Tommy's rifle, which is scripted. When we enter the motel with Joel, we can fight off the infected without using too many bullets. Basically just let Joel take care of the clickers and do not stop running. The bloater at the end, we just fire our remaining bullets at and avoid the runners. It's not that difficult surprisingly, and the game gives us enough ammo to deal with everything in this part, so all good there. And back to the present day, the rest of day 2 is tough, but once again doable. We're thrown into a section with a ton of stalkers and a clicker. All of those stalkers can be taken out with a knife, but we do have to use a bullet on the clicker, which, thanks to Jesse, we can now spare a bullet. Once through there, it's on to the Seraphites, and that part is really tricky. I was able to get up to the scripted door okay, but that is where it gets really difficult. The first Seraphite that bursts through that door can be beaten with a knife pretty easily, but behind him there's a guy with a bow and arrow, and in the same room there is a guy with a shotgun. It's kind of a gamble as to when they will leave that room, so this took a long time. On top of all that, you need to break this glass window just to get into this area, and that attracts Seraphites from all around you. And to get through that, you also have to hold triangle to open this door, which is a struggle, let's just say. You can pretty much use stealth for the rest of the day through the hospital. It's not too exciting, but basically sneak by, let the clickers eat the wolf in the lower level,
Tasty snack.
and then confront Nora without picking anything up. Ellie Day 3 is pretty doable for the most part. Stealth is our best friend here again because we kinda just sneak past all the wolf patrolling outside, sneak through the flooded mall, take the boat all the way to the arcade, and then this is maybe the hardest part of the game here. So at this point we have 1 shotgun shell, 2 pistol bullets, 1 Molotov, and 1 arrow. You can pump the bloater full of the remaining ammo and stab away at it. The bloater is a little predictable, but you have a constant stream of runners dropping into the room, and they are not as predictable. I put about 5 hours into this, but couldn't beat the bloater knife only. However, I know it is possible because of this YouTuber. They were able to kill the bloater with just a knife, and even though they did use some bricks and bottles to kill the runners, it does prove that it's possible to kill the bloater with just a knife, which means I didn't have to pick anything up in addition to what I already had in order to kill the bloater, so even though it's a cop-out, we're going to count that as no added pickups. The rest of Ellie Day 3 is straightforward, and after heading to the aquarium and committing a little murder, we return to the theater and swap over to Abby. So, at the end of Ellie Day 3, we have not scavenged any items aside what the game has forced us to pick up to progress. Pretty good so far. But now on to Abby's part of the game. Abby's half of the game is so much harder than Ellie's, in my opinion, and as a result, it is harder to avoid scavenging. Within minutes, we are forced to pick up a brick to progress. Yeah. We need to break a window, and we can't punch it because it's high up. We also don't have our gun out at this point, so we can't use a bullet. And we can't bypass this any other way, so we need to use a brick to smash this window and progress through the level. Thus, this is necessary and doesn't count. We are then forced to pick up a quarter before we progress, and Abby's half of the game is already testing me. But this is a collectible, and again, we are forced to pick it up, so we're all good here. In the wolf headquarters, we pick up a rifle and pistol in a cutscene, and we are off. You actually don't have to shoot it all during the first car chase, which I wanted to do to save ammo, but this is scripted, so you technically have unlimited ammo, and unfortunately, it's kind of a reverse of the car scene with Ellie in Day 2. Instead of gaining ammo, we actually lose ammo. Yes, you start this part with 18 rifle bullets and 12 pistol bullets, and even if you do not shoot at all, you end it with 9 rifle bullets and 3 pistol bullets. This is scripted, so unfortunately we can't do anything about it aside from be very frustrated. You can get through the warehouse without using ammo if you just make Mel and Manny kill the Shambler and the clickers. The train tracks can be passed with stealth, and you do nothing at the gas station holdout, so at least we have all of our remaining ammo from the car chase intact. The flashback in the aquarium forces you to pick up a note, but nothing else. Once you enter Chinatown, the first clicker that you encounter is meant to be shot, but you can kinda just sneak around it and save a bullet. The sniper encounter in the part following is pretty easy to sneak by, but in a cutscene just after that, you are forced to pick up the shotgun. And as most Seraphite encounters, you can sneak by the rest of this day until you get to the forest, where you actually don't need to pick anything up since it's all hand-to-hand combat. The next hard part is the restaurant holdout when Lev and Yara take forever to open the ambulance front windshield. You can kill most of the infected in this part with a knife, but the game does throw 5 clickers at you, which you need to kill to progress. The last 2 Shamblers don't need to be killed, but even getting to the point where they spawn is really difficult. Either way, you're down 5 bullets after this, since you need to use 1 for each clicker. As soon as you enter the door on the ferry, Abby picks up a crossbow in a cutscene, which doesn't count. The ferry is pretty doable with a lot of running, and once you get to the aquarium, you're meant to throw a bottle through the window in order to climb onto the roof, and then another brick to break in through the roof. I don't know why, but for some reason, a single crossbow bolt allowed me to break both of these windows, so no pickups there. Ellie Day 2 is hands down the hardest day to complete for one obvious reason that I will get to. First, you go to the hospital with Lev, and on the way you encounter a bunch of Seraphites. Luckily, they suck, so you can kill the first ones you encounter with your bare hands, then sneak past the ones higher up, and after taking a fall into the infected-filled hotel, you can sneak past or run past basically all the infected. When you climb down the fire hose, the game does force you to pick up the flamethrower in order to progress, but similar to Ellie Day One with the shotgun, it's blocking the door and you have to pick it up, so it doesn't count. After making it through the hotel, we get to the hospital and sneak past a bunch of clickers to get to the single hardest part of this game other than the bloater, the Rat King. Unfortunately, this is as far as we can go without extra scavenging. I used up all my ammo, but couldn't even get the clicker to separate from the Rat King, so things weren't looking great. If you punch the Rat King, it instantly kills you, so that is a non-option, unlike with the bloater. There is no way around it. You need ammo to kill the Rat King, so the question now becomes, what is the fewest number of items I can pick up to kill the Rat King? After many trials of the encounter, I decided to go back to Ellie Day One and try to keep a list of every place where I could see ammo. Anytime I saw more than one bullet in a single pickup, I took it. The logic behind this is that I could pick up more than what I needed, but based on how many bullets I picked up and how much damage it did to the Rat King, I could find an optimal solution that minimized the number of pickups and ensured I could kill the Rat King. After a million attempts, these were my estimates for how much of each ammo type it would take to kill the Rat King. I ended up not even bothering with the hunting pistol since it's actually the only weapon in the game that you are not forced to pick up, so obtaining the hunting pistol would cost an extra pickup on its own. I started off by using all of the ammo that the game gave me by default, so that included 6 assault rifle bullets, 3 pistol bullets, 2 shotgun shells, and 38 flamethrower rounds. I ended up using 3 pieces of supplies I found in the warehouse on day 1 to make pipe bombs. I picked up a pipe bomb in the fob on day 1 as well, and I picked up 2 shotgun shells and 2 assault rifle bullets after the brute Seraphite encounter in day 1.
Are you wearing my backpack?
Finally, I picked up 2 more assault rifle bullets in a safe on day 2. It is worth noting that there are places where you can pick up 3 assault rifle bullets, so technically that would be more efficient. However, I ended up using exactly 4 of the picked up bullets, so I thought it made more sense to pick up exactly 4 rather than have 1 or 2 extra, because...
What's the rule about taking stuff? We only take what we have to. That's right.
Ellie Day 3 is a lot easier than day 2. Like, a lot. The sniper section on the overpass is easy to get through without picking stuff up, since you don't even need to use ammo here. Once we get to the Seraphites Island, things become a little trickier, but still, you can use a combination of stealth and booking it to get through the first few areas until you meet Lev. Once you lose Yara, the wolf look for you, but once again, stealth wins. The fast food firefight is tricky because you have to be patient and rely on the AI to kill each other, but mostly it just requires patience, and the back of the fast food restaurant has like 3 wolves, so it helps to kill a couple of them here if you can. Still, this section is possible without using any ammo, and once we get on the horse, we have unlimited ammo until the end where we actually gain a couple of pistol bullets, and I didn't end up using these anyway since the last area can be done with patience by once again letting the wolf and Seraphites kill each other off, and the big Seraphite encounter is easy, and then it's on to the theater to 1v1 Ellie. The Ellie fight can be pretty brutal, but it's really not that bad if you know what to expect. I usually pick up a brick or bottle for the last segment when Ellie is laying down traps, but I couldn't do that here. If you're patient though, you can get lucky and sneak up behind Ellie as she's putting a trap down. So this day is much more doable than day 2, and we didn't have to pick up any more ammo. So at the end of Abby's half of the game with a major hiccup, we can finish it with 7 pickups, and now we go to Santa Barbara to see if we can finish the game without any more pickups. Santa Barbara resets your ammo, but not your crafting supplies, so we basically can't craft any health kits or Molotovs here. Since we didn't pick up any upgrades, there's nothing else we could craft anyway, but it's interesting to note. Ellie also picks up a silenced submachine gun, but this is in a cutscene, so we can't avoid it. Luckily, the game gives you a ton of ammo for this section, so as Ellie, you can get all the way up to the big resort without using any of it, and you get a lot of ammo. It took a little while for me to sneak through without taking damage, since we can't make any health kits, but the final resort area was surprisingly easy. The game gives you checkpoints based on when you kill enemies, so for this part I just used up all my remaining ammo and killed all of the enemies in the first part of this area. I was given many small checkpoints, so it really wasn't too bad. The last part, I just ran through and fired off a few shots, but once again, the game gives you so much ammo for Santa Barbara that scavenging isn't necessary at all if you're careful. The final fight with Abby doesn't require picking anything up, so we're actually able to get through Santa Barbara pretty easily without picking anything up. So at the end of the game, the minimum number possible pickups, I believe, is 7. If you think you can do it in less, let me know. If you think there's anything I missed, also let me know in the comments below. Overall, this was a lot harder than my no kills playthrough, which I will link down below if you haven't checked it out already, but it was harder in different ways. The infected encounters tended to take more time here, and I spent many hours trying to figure some of them out. Since I was able to kill people, I got more checkpoints and could speed through areas designed for scavenging supplies. I would probably not recommend this playstyle as it got pretty frustrating in certain points, but it was fun to try and it was a great challenge to actually complete. I also did want to give a shout out to GameChamp 3000 for completing this on the first The Last of Us game, but as far as I'm aware, no one else has done this for The Last of Us Part 2. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if there are other challenges or games you'd like me to try, let me know. Otherwise, subscribe to Epic Cakes Gaming, and I will see you later. Peace.